The Duval Rundown, driven by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, home of the lifetime warranty.
Good morning and Merry Christmas. Welcome to another edition of Duval Rundown here on Christmas Eve. I'm Hayes Carline. Pleased to be joined as always on Wednesday with Ryan O'Halloran of the Florida Times-Union, the columnist, doing an outstanding job. And you can see his work at Jacksonville.com and follow Ryan at Ryan O'Halloran. Ryan, good morning and Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, good Merry Christmas to you, Hayes, and to everybody watching. And for a lot of Jaguar fans, this is a great Christmas.
It's unbelievable. I mean, just put into perspective what they've done. They won 4 games last year, and here they sit with a chance to be favored to get to 13-4. But even if they don't do that, we know they've already clinched a playoff spot with 2 games left.
Yeah, we covered 17, and that was probably a hot half season. They were 3-3, I think, before they got on a run. You were here in 2022. That was a hot month to win the division. And it was close games, overtime games, comebacks. If you look at this Jaguar team, it started in week 1. They had a little bit of a dip, but they have been thorough. And when you are beating teams by double digits in this league, that means you are dominating.
Yeah, and the thing that really struck me that was in the post-game notes that the Jaguars put out is in this 6-game win streak, the Jaguars are plus 113 in point differential, which is not only the best in franchise history. That's not really much of a surprise. But what did surprise me, that's the best run of any team this season in the league over a 6-game stretch. So, I mean, they are playing phenomenal football. Really, no one has matched what they've done over the 6 weeks. And the complementary football piece has been so critical because they just excel in every phase of the game.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the Denver game. I thought offensively, once they got things figured out after the first couple of series in the passing game, they did whatever they wanted to do. Denver had no answers for them as long as the Jaguars could block it up. And I thought Liam Cohn stayed committed to the run because he wanted to control the clock a little bit. But I think you see him shifting now toward more, hey, my quarterback is on a heater. My receivers are getting open. Maybe that's how you get your chunk plays. Defensively, gave up a ton of yards, but good on 3rd down and 4th down. And I'm glad you mentioned the special teams. I thought they were lights out in terms of covering kicks and punts. So it was an all-around win. And, Sean Payton said after the game, says the Jaguars beat the Broncos in every phase, including coaching, and he's right.
You've covered the Broncos for several years. You've got a good perspective on this. What is Mile High like, and what did it tell you about this Jaguar team that they were able to go into that environment and win so thoroughly?
I covered them from 18 to 21. That was as loud as I've heard that building. First play of the Jaguars offense, the press box was shaking because the people above us were pounding on the aluminum floor of the stadium. So a great environment. A couple of players on the Jaguars said, hey, that was not even close. That was the loudest by far of the season. And so no false starts, no delay games. I think it was a fast play clock. I agree with Trevor Lawrence on that. But, yeah, to go in there, and a couple of those snaps, they did no snap count. So that's sort of, hey, thinking outside the box a little bit. Don't let the Broncos tee off. So I thought they had a great plan and great composure on offense.
And now as you look towards this game Sunday in Indianapolis, obviously these teams just met in Week 14, but it's stunning how they have taken 2 totally different directions. The Jaguars are surging. The Colts are one of the coldest teams in the league. They've lost now, I believe, 5 straight. They started 7-1 and are now basically out of the playoffs. They're hanging by a thread. What's your level of concern in terms of this being a tricky game for the Jaguars, if you have any at all?
I think if the Colts are still alive Sunday at 1 o'clock, which means they need a Charger win Saturday night over the Texans, I think you're going to see a more plucky Colts team because they still are clinging to a little bit of a hope. But if they're eliminated, do we see Riley Leonard at quarterback? Do they trot out Phillip Rivers at age 44? I think the mindset of the Colts is human nature is they'll be playing out the string. San Francisco should be embarrassed by that first half performance on defense. I would pressure Rivers. He'll just throw it away. He'll check down, tackle the catch. So I think right now on paper, this should be a significant Jaguars advantage. And Hayes, you said it from mid-season on, the bill was going to come due on this Colts team with the schedule. We probably didn't expect it to be this bad because of injuries, but they're going to go from the number 1 seed after week 10 to not making the playoffs. That's a stunning collapse.
It really is stunning. And we've seen that in this division in recent years. You know, the Titans collapsed in 22, which allowed the Jaguars to run through the door. Obviously, the Jaguars collapsed the following year, allowed the Texans to sort of run through the door. And I don't know that I would say like this one won't be viewed as anybody collapsing. I think regardless, if it's the Jaguars, obviously tremendous surge at the end of the year. If it's the Texans, tremendous surge at the end of the year. But it is interesting how that's sort of been a theme in the division. The Colts, it's been unbelievable. I was looking at the numbers. So going into the first matchup versus this matchup, the Colts have lost 2 full points per game on offense. They were leading the NFL in the first meeting. Again, this is just week 14. We're not talking about a game in October. We're just talking a few weeks ago. They've dropped 2 points per game. They're down to 27.9. That's 6th in the league. And they've given up 2.5 more points per game defensively. So they can talk about Daniel Jones and the Achilles injury all they want, but the Colts defense has just fallen apart. And Monday night was a prime example because Rivers gives you the ultimate start, gets the ball, goes right down the field, scores a touchdown. It's Lucas Oil Stadium is in a frenzy. And then the defense just allows Brock Purdy to throw 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, watching that game, it looked like the Colts had about 7 defenders on the field. You thought they'd get a little bit of a boost from Buckner coming back, but I'll give you one last stat on the Colts offense. Jonathan Taylor no longer leads the league in rushing. James Cook does.
Shocking.
I mean, Taylor, when we're getting ready for this first meeting, Taylor had pretty much lapped the field.
Yeah.
And now Jimbo's got going with Buffalo, and obviously Taylor's touches have gone down because they're chasing the game. But I think this is going to be a great game for this Jaguar offense for what you just said. San Francisco did whatever they wanted. McCaffrey, the receivers, Kittle. So I think this is going to be a game for the Jaguar passing game where they're going to be able to find some really big holes in this coverage.
Yeah, I agree. Jacob Simon's helping us out. Jacob, we certainly appreciate your efforts. Let's say hello to our sponsor, please.
Baloo for Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, your locally owned commercial truck headquarters and proud partner of the Jaguars. For hard-to-find ProMaster vans or commercial trucks for your fleet, visit jaxwest.com today.
Ryan, as we start to look at from looking at the Jaguar defense perspective for this game, a lot of good things. I really liked seeing Trayvon rushing more from the inside. He made a lot of dominant plays against the Broncos. What's your assessment of Anthony Campanile, the job he's done, that wrinkle with Trayvon, and anything else that's caught your eye from the Jaguar defense? Yeah,
I'll start with Walker. They did that. They first experimented with that in the Ram game in London because they just weren't creating any kind of pressure at that point. But one thing about Walker is, he had the wrist surgery in week 4 or 5. Then he had the knee that's shelved him for a couple of games. And, I asked Liam Cohn last week, hey, do you see this guy turning the corner while he's feeling healthy? And, the answer was, he probably is. I mean, to me, we're not seeing much yet. Well, I thought you saw a lot against Denver. His pressures were up. He made a stop in the run game. So I think him ascending. And also, one thing we've known about this coaching staff this year is just they're not stubborn. They'll make changes. Hey, the interior rush is not getting there. Let's put Trayvon Walker inside. Josh Hines-Allen is maybe not getting there from his usual spot. Let's flip him to the other side, exploit a matchup. So I think Campanile's done a great job coordinating this defense. There's some weeks where he'll blitz a lot. Other weeks he'll just play coverage. So it's he deserves a hat tip for that. And overall, this defense is. They gave up a lot of explosives, but then they just buckle down. And, they make a stop on 3rd down. They stop a run play on 1st down that, maybe make it 2nd and 12. So I think they should be encouraged by what the things they're doing on defense right now.
In terms of attrition for this week, I guess McCary is a big one that we'll be monitoring, and, we'll see the injury report later today, but McCary dealing with a back injury. What'd you think of Walker Little sliding in at right guard? And if McCary can't go, would that be the lineup that you would expect to see?
Yeah, I would think so because that's the way they went against Denver. So they obviously had that plan B ready to go. And this will give Little a few more days of working at right guard. I'd leave Van Lannon at left tackle, just disrupt one position instead of changing two. And that was their rationale in the game. As for Walker Little, I was told that one of the mistakes he did make is he didn't hear the can. So he was blocking one play, and they changed it. So that'll be ironed out with another week of practice. But I thought he was able to get in the way. And one thing I asked Walker after the game was let's go part one, disappointment over losing your left tackle job. He said, hey, you want to be out there, you're a competitor. Then I said, well, now you got to go play right guard. And he said the biggest difference was they're just in your chest a lot quicker, so you had to change his technique a little bit. But I think that's the route they would go if McCary can't play.
Anything on the defensive side of things? I guess Jordan Lewis. We'll see what it looks like for him this week. Anything from an injury standpoint concerning you defensively?
Yeah, I mean with Lewis, he said, and the replay confirmed this. He was covering the guy on a crosser, and he got stepped on top of the foot, which hurts like what. But after the game, he wasn't in a walking boot, he wasn't on crutches, so I'm sure it's pretty sore still now. So if he's limited over the next couple of days, that wouldn't be a surprise. But everybody came back. Newsome came back. Buster Brown came back. So I think they're in decent shape coming out of that game.
Liam Cohen has done such a masterful job motivating this team and getting them to play hard every week. It really is amazing how consistently they've been in terms of their effort. He's been obviously utilizing the small market, the disrespect card, which is great. And I'm certainly not trying to tell him how to motivate his club. He's done a brilliant job with it. But as we start to get closer to the playoffs, and we're now just 2 games away from that, do you start, if you're Liam Cohen, to maybe change the message a little bit from the disrespect angle to, guys, forget all about that. We're closing in on a shot at a world championship.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you may have given me a column idea for later this week. He's going to play up the one Pro Bowler thing.
I look forward to reading that column.
Yeah, I'll put a little HC in parentheses. That means in case Carlyon gave me the idea. But I agree. I mean,
that'll make up for the 1,000 ideas I've used on radio that you've given me.
I have a little chart at home: $5 for this one, $2 for this one. But Liam Cohen, he'll play the Pro Bowler thing up. Maybe this is what floats his boat. Maybe it's what gets him fired up.
Yeah,
you're right. To me, you are really grasping at a straw, I think, because right now you're in the playoffs. You have a shot at the division title. Heck, you may be able to play 2 home games in the playoffs if you're second seed. So I would, if I'm him, I sort of pivot again. And my motivation for this group this week is it could be a hat and T-shirt game. And you guys worked hard to get in position to win this division. Now go do it. To me, that's all the motivation you need.
Yeah, the thing that worries me about it is if teams that tend to play the underdog card tend to become afraid of success when it matters the most. Those are the kind of teams that when you get into the playoffs, when you get to do or die time, they tend to get a little afraid of success. And we've seen it with this organization. So that's the only thing. I mean, if Liam Cohen wants to play the disrespect card until the end of the season, he's earned that right. He's arguably the coach of the year. I just am saying, I think you might be better off getting away from that message and making it more about a run to the world championship than the small market where where no one believes in us. I think that tends to lead to a team that gets a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter of a playoff game and realizes, well, maybe we're not supposed to be doing this. Yeah. It falls apart.
Remember that 2017 team, from a comportment standpoint, is the opposite of this team. That team basically said, we're the best defense. We're going to kick your butt. I mean, their motivation was domination, and basically just starting a fight in pregame, John after the whistle. So that's what that team was different because they were just so confident. I think this team is confident just in a different way. But to me, if I'm a player, I sort of, that's kind of funny, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, these are adults. These are pros. They're in the tournament. They're playing for a ring now.
Absolutely. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, fantastic stuff. And it's the best football he's played in his career. And it'd be the best football that a lot of people have played over a 4-game stretch. I feel like I can't keep asking the same thing about, well, is this just a hot streak or will he cool off? So I'll just ask you, like, what elements of Trevor's game right now do you feel like are working at an elite level?
Accuracy. He is putting it where they need to put the football where it needs to go. Guys are making plays after the catch. He's not turning it over. He's being more willing as a scrambler. He's protecting himself when he does that. I'm stunned that this has gone on for 4 straight games. I wrote a column after the Arizona game saying the Jaguars had a Trevor Lawrence problem. I stand by that. I think they did. And sometimes as a player, you have to hit rock bottom. And I'm sure there were a lot of soul-searching conversations between Cohn, Udinski, Whipple, and Lawrence that week saying, okay, 2 things. You can't be making these mistakes. Second part is, what can we do to help you? And is that narrow down the scope of the game plan? They put the wristband on. That's helped. So you add it all up. It's been obviously a great turnaround for Trevor Lawrence. Each week, you sort of say, okay, this is when interception is going to come, or 2 interceptions. But I think that the coaching staff deserves a ton of credit, as does the player.
Absolutely. Ryan, we certainly appreciate your time. Give us a sense of what's coming up on Jacksonville.com.
Well, right now online, today's paper is sort of a recap, 10 thoughts. I think it's 8 thoughts of the Bronco-Jaguar game. Talked to Walker Little, talked to Jordan Lewis, obviously some Parker Washington stuff in there. So and then later in the week, we'll have a notes column. And then, hey, raise your hand if you're fired up for the Gator Bowl.
That's right.
Missouri and Virginia Saturday night, and then be monitoring the Colts and the Jags on Sunday.
Sounds great. Well, Ryan, we really appreciate your time. Fantastic insights as always. Again, read Ryan's work at Jacksonville.com, and you can find him on social at Ryan O'Halloran. Ryan, have a Merry Christmas. Say hello to your family for me, and I'll look forward to talking with you next week.
All right, Hayes. Merry Christmas. Take care now.
All right. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you guys. We won't have a show on Friday, so I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. We'll be back on Monday with Frank Frangie. Until then, thanks for watching Duval Rundown, and your team's in the playoffs. Soak it up and enjoy it. Go Jags.